Welcome to Virtuoso Voice Coach. Today, I want to run you through a checklist. This checklist is going to tell how well do you sing. How well do you really sing? Many people are not very objective at analyzing how well they sing or what areas need particular improvement. But here is a checklist for you to use to evaluate what you really do. But before we get into the checklists, understand that simply knowing what to do is only part of it. We also have to be willing to effect the change. And something about motivating ourselves to the change is an important thing. So, about change, why we don't, and how we can. We'll look into that later. What are the motivations to cause a change? So I have told you already that voice training is a process, and you need to undergo the process to become good. But here is the checklist, so we know what we need to change. First, recognize that each person has a particular vocal quality that is most natural for them, and we all do not need to sound exactly the same. Nevertheless, there are certain vocal aspects that are more pleasing to the ear, and they are more effective for clear diction. They cause less distraction to many people, and they lead to better communicative expression. Number one, breathing. Breathing definitely needs to be diaphragmatic, expanding at the guts, not coastal breathing, where we lift up the chest. If you don't know, you don't understand this, or you need to work on diaphragmatic breathing, it's part of the topic that will be coming up. So that's one thing to work upon. Number two, formation of vowels, diphthongs, and consonants. So we're going to look at that, but note that that is the number two, because oftentimes we are lazy in vowel formations. Now, diphthongs, triphthongs are easy to slur over or result in migration of vowel purity, gradually moving from the vowel sound to another rather than holding the target vowel sound. So we're going to be looking at these things, and these are like examples of what you should expect as we go on in Virtuoso Voice Coach project. Number three, let's pay attention to the depth of the mouth openness. The mouth should be wide open, downward, for almost all vowels except oo, which requires lip protrusion. An elongated mouth opening will give you a fuller and more resonant tone. With so many possible vowel problems, be sure to check yourself out carefully. Now, this is a part of number two that I've talked about. Now let me go into number three. Number three is tone quality. You check yourself on number one, breathing. You check yourself on number two, formation of vowels, diphthong, triphthongs, and quathongs. Then number three, you check yourself on tone quality. What's the quality of the production you're making? Now, each of us has a certain basic tonal quality, though we don't all need to sound the same. Some people's natural quality is a bit harsh and not pleasing. It sounds tense. This is often caused by lack of sotto voce. We'll talk about sotto voce as this project goes on. So, lack of sotto voce development may be the cause for that. And poor passaggio control. Poor passaggio control. So that could be one of those issues. You need to have a uniformity of tone quality throughout your range. A uniformity of tone quality should be when you pass through your range from the lowest to the highest. And very important, this complex area will require serious attention to make significant changes. Yes, when you are moving from the lowest range to the highest range, it requires a lot of attention to make significant changes. Number 4, intonation. Now, first of all, be sure that you are hearing pitches internally and judging your singing by that, rather than what comes out of your mouth. Are you particularly careful about high notes to make sure you are not forcing them? Are you especially conscious of when you are singing on the thirds of the chord and keeping the major third high and the minor third low? All these are matters of intonation, and you should be aware of what you are doing. Singing should be a conscious activity, that you know what you're doing. Until you become conscious of what you're doing when you're singing, you may not be doing the right thing. That takes me to number 5, rhythm. Do you feel the beat underlying the music? There is a steady rhythmic flow to most music that we call the beat. It should be clearly felt in the music. Even in expressive ballads, there is that flow, though the steady flow may start and stop frequently. Of course, the beat should be strongly felt in the rhythmic music, such as marches and so on. In reference to rhythm, it's not enough to just sing along. Very, very important that you are understanding the beat that's underlying the music. Are you conscious of your rhythm? Could you sing consistently on a given rhythm and understand your entrance and understand when you should go out and when you should come back again? Those are the important parts to examine yourself on rhythm. Number 6, dynamics. Expressiveness requires contrasts of loud and soft. If you tend to sing only at one volume, you should think of this a bit. So there should be contrasts, and contrast is an important part of everyday life. And so, how expressive are you? Are you always loud and never think about being soft? Or are you always soft and never think of being loud? A balance of both worlds could be the best for your singing voice. Number 7, expressiveness. Music is more than dealing with the mechanics of singing. In fact, music should primarily be about 2 things. Number 1, communication of emotions. And number 2, beauty of sound. Any details or mechanics are clearly subservient to the main goals of communication. Whatever you're going to do, whatever you're going to sing, you should be making sure that you are communicating and reaching your audience in the proper emotional content. Especially when performing, the mechanics should be so well under control that the main focus is on communicating with your audience. They are your goal. They are your targets. We always say, my target audience. So, they are the ones that you are presenting your message to. And the way you communicate that information to them is very important. So check these 7 areas and concentrate on one aspect in an area to work on first. This could be an aspect that you are certain is your weakest. On the other hand, perhaps you will want to work more gradually and concentrate on one that you can achieve more easily as your first area. I want to recap the 7 points to check how well you sing. Number 1, you need to check your breathing. How is your breathing? Is your breath support good? Are you breathing properly? Are you using the breath fine in the right way it should be used? Or don't you even know how to breathe for singing? There's a way we breathe for singing which is different from the way we breathe for speaking or for living. So, consider your breath control. Number 2, the way you form vowels, diphthongs, triphthongs, quaterns, and consonants. How well do you form them? Now, naturally, it's supposed to be that every language grammar is properly treated to sound like it and not to sound differently. So, you consider how well you shape your articulators to project the sound. Remember, I presented this in the topic on the singing voice part 2. If you haven't watched the singing voice part 2, go and watch that particular topic on our articulators. They will help you to understand what you should be doing with your vocal articulators. Now, number 3 is the tone quality. As a result of the shape of your vowels and consonants and the breath control, which is the breath support, you are able to present the quality of tone that you should be delivering and to the pleasing of your audience. So the tone quality is very, very key to how you are perceived and how you are received. Number 4, intonation. Are you still doing flat singing and it doesn't bother you that you do that when you sing? Now, it should concern you that people should be happy when you deliver your lines, when you sing. Don't go flat on stage and feel that there's nothing wrong happening about it. Or are you still sounding like tone deaf, if there's anything like it? But the point is that you are not hearing your pitches when you sing. You're not hearing the tones that you are using in the song. And you don't understand how to properly place your sound and let it be fine for the listener. That is intonation. You need to work on that. Number 5, your reading. Are you one that dance about in reading? You don't know how to move and connect. You don't know how to leave this section and properly enter the other section. You don't know how to run fast and become slow. All these aspects, you are not aware of what should be done. And even when you stand before a conductor who is conducting you, you are like you drift from point to point without carefully following your guide. That is something to think about. And if you work with a rhythmic music, how do you feel the music? Do the music keep you in guide? Does it keep you like in check? You stay in balance. Are you really understanding your beat? Can you flow with it? If that is not happening, then you need to consider that a bit more. Then number 6, dynamics. Are you always loud when you're supposed to be at least temper it with softness? Or are you always soft that people can barely hear you when you sing? Now you need to consider the balance of the both worlds. You're not supposed to be always loud and you're not supposed to be always soft. There should be a balance to your loudness and softness to make your production and your vocal projection appealing to your listeners. Number 7, and my last point, expressiveness. Expressiveness. As I said, music is more than dealing with the mechanics of singing. In fact, music should primarily be about communication of emotions and the beauty of sound. How is your sound? How do you communicate it? Do you communicate it with passion? Is there emotion that is genuine and true when you communicate your message? Now, is it beautiful or is it ugly? You need to look at that and consider that you coming to sing is an important part of your service when you stand before an audience. So, to make the sound beautiful and to make it expressive is one important thing you should pay attention to. Are you new to this channel? Or you've been coming and you've not subscribed? Please hit the subscription button, because that is an encouragement that we need from you to keep on doing what we are doing. That's how I bring this topic to an end. Until the next lesson that I bring to you, pay attention to these things and find out which one should you pick on first. And as we keep on working, bringing in more informations on how to better your voice, you follow on to get where you need to go. That's all for now, and do have yourself a blessed day. Bye.